I saw some great leadership in my household growing up, incredible leadership from my mother and father. It was very interesting how they raised us at the time. You have 6 boys and you have 1 girl, and you have limited means of rearing 7 kids. And I think when you are in a situation like that as parents, I think that when you have, like I said, that many kids and limited means in taking care of them, I think the only thing that you can really count on more than anything else is a solid foundation. I had a father who fought in World War II, had seen the worst of the worst that you could see, and it shaped him in a way that he raised us to see people truly for their character. Truly for their character, because of what he had been through, because of what life had put him through. Growing up in the Deep South like he did, socially what he had to go through growing up, and then going off to war, and what he had to endure then, it really shaped him to see nothing but the character of a person. I moved to Detroit from Louisiana September 15th, 1985. I caught a flight up here, and someone from the Pistons picked me up at the airport and dropped me off at a hotel and say, we practice at Oakland University at 10 o'clock every morning. Okay. I don't know one person in Michigan. I don't know anything about Michigan. I know nothing about Detroit. It's a complete wasteland to me, if you ask me at the time. I'm thinking this is the worst place that I can be. And I'm calling everybody in Louisiana and warning them, don't come to this place, man. This is a bad spot right here. I think it's very, very important, and that's no pun intended being in this room, being on this campus, but I think it's very, very important that you do your homework, that you know as much or more than anybody in the room when there's things to talk about. And I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in doing your homework. Know your subject matter. Know what's going on when you have to step in that room, when you have to negotiate, when you have to get a deal done. Know your business. Don't go in there trying to figure it out in the middle of a meeting. It's too late. It's too late, and whatever leverage you thought you had, you've lost it. Now, I often say to people, I don't mind taking risk, and I'm not afraid to be wrong at all. But when people hear risk, I have to follow it up by saying this. If you know all the facts, if you've done your homework, it's less of a risk than you think it is. I'm not talking about reckless. I'm not talking about walking in the room, not knowing the subject matter, and taking a risk. That's reckless, and there's a big difference between being reckless and taking a risk. I'm talking about taking an educated, informed risk. When you're in an occupation that is literally judged by the minute, eventually you get to a point where you have to lose fear. You can't walk out and be on that type of stage and succeed with fear being the basis for everything that you do. You cannot. It'll help you for the short term, but long term, you have to become immune to that. The first year we played in the NBA Finals that I was playing with the Pistons, we flew out to LA, and I remember CBS, whoever was doing the game, I remember we met with teams end up meeting with whoever's carrying the game, whatever stations are carrying the game, and there's a lot of stuff you go over. But I remember the guy from CBS saying, okay, so, and this was a small number at the time, but he said, we're going to have 80 million people watching around the world. And I think when you live in that type of environment, where you live under that kind of scrutiny, and I'm talking about real-time scrutiny, where it's analyzed and overanalyzed, and everybody, when I go to the barbershop, trust me, everybody in there knows exactly what I need to do, They'll tell you, just ask them. But when you live under that type of scrutiny, that type of second-guessing, that type of just glass bubble, eventually most people, not everybody, but most people end up giving up that fear. You have to give it up. Because it's only holding you back. It's only holding you back from being successful.